to episode, I want to say 527. I'm not sure. It's kind of blurred. It's kind of blurred. It's been a busy week of streams. So welcome to this episode. It's Joshing. I'm your host, Joshua Pantellaresco, and today we get a very special edition. This is the Kickstarter, and I'm gonna put this right up there right now. It's on my stream right now as I just put that there. This is from the Sword.
Enter the Continuum
by the Sword, yeah. And below me, well, I'm going to do everybody do an introduction here. So we're going to go from my immediate right all the way down. So I'm going to start with Meredith, then we're going to go to Nita and Mike. Introduce yourselves to the audience, and let's begin.
All right. Well, you guys, I'm Meredith Loughran, and most of you know me from my association with Geek Insider as the associate editor at the Geek Insider website, as well as the executive producer of the Geek Insider podcast. But I am one of the partners in the Continuum Comix with an X. And right now we've got an active Kickstarter. It is Enter the Continuum, our featured story in there, because we've got 6 and we're going to have more coming. We're going to be announcing that really soon, but we are featuring this. The sword.
By the sword. Yeah, and that is by Russ Leach, and we're really excited about having that. We've got it listed with the Virgin covers. Those are the covers that you're going to get with this Kickstarter, and we're at 99 backers right now. We need 1 to get to 100. So, but I'm going to pass the mic to, I guess, Mike, so that you can introduce yourself as well.
I feel like
it's all yours.
I know, right?
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. I'll take that.
Yeah.
All right. I'm Mike. I am a artist, and I am the creator of one of the stories in the when you enter the Continuum, and then one of those characters is Eclipse. Just to give a little background on me as far as art. I've been doing art just about forever, but I am currently actually working on a Star Wars project with Topps, and I finished another one for The Mandalorian Season 2. Just had a deadline on the last month on that, and I also do some stuff with Marvel, and also, of course, some indie stuff. But the great thing now is I'm finally able to put out stuff that I've had in my head for over 17 years, and this character is Eclipse, which is in the story that as you guys look and scroll, when you enter the Continuum Kickstarter, you'll start noticing more and more of all the awesome stories going on in there.
Nice. And last but certainly not least, it's Nita. How you doing, Nita?
All right. My name is Nita Lanning. I am a writer, vlogger, blogger, and I am the co-host of Ragin' on YouTube with Meredith Loughran, and I too am a partner of Continuum Comix with an X.
Nice. So, well, I sorry, when I first saw you guys' name, Continuum, I'm sorry. I hope this is not an insult. This also shows you how old I am, so don't hold this against me. Right, I was reminded of, just oddly enough, the name Continuity Comics. I'm not saying you're like as timely as they were, because that was the irony of it. They weren't never on time to save their lives, but it's just like one of those. It was one of those. And if anyone gets that reference, I'm old. Shut up. It's okay. I totally understand. I'm good with being that old part.
That means I'm in your age range.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I think I'm older than all of you. So yeah.
Yeah, no, you remember too, right? Yeah, it's like, yeah, Neil tried. Like, Neil really tried, and it was like one of those things. I get the feeling though that you guys, because it's a team effort, it's probably you probably have a lot more. Well, I based on what I've seen so far, the little I have seen of it so far, you guys seem to have a master plan, and it seems to be coming to fruition. I'm assuming Meredith is the ringmaster here. I could be wrong.
Honestly, we all bring our talent together. I mean, without the rest of us working as hard as we have, we wouldn't have what we have right now. Seriously. I mean, everybody brings their talent, their creativity, their heart, and their drive to make sure that this is brought to fruition. And quite honestly, you know, and I think I can speak freely about it. The idea of the Continuum was to bring creators together so that we can make books. And whether you are a veteran comic book creator, whether you're a newbie writer, if you are brand new to art or lettering, those are all things that we bring into the group. We have a Facebook group called Continuum Creations, I think it is. I know we recently changed the name. So, and that is to bring all of those creators who want to develop and have their work published through this, that they have that room to do it. And in fact, that's how Michael Lanning and I got together. He started talking about a story, and he was like, "It's kind of odd." He's like, "I'd like to draw it." He's like, "But I'm not sure if I can write it." And I was like, "I'd like to try." And so we went back and forth with each other, and we were able to put together this story of Reapers. And through that, we presented originally 4 pages. And because of the Continuum, because we were in that room and we were able to collaborate and talk and get feedback, we ended up adding 2 more pages because the feedback was, you're missing some in-between spots that are really important. So is it possible to add those pages and really develop this one section of this story? And I got goosebumps about it because C was like, "Yeah, I can deliver on those pages." And I'm like, "I'm lettering now. I've never lettered. I'm lettering 3 things right now." Because of that, I'm getting comic book credits, you guys. You have no idea the opportunity that I have because of this. And I don't know about the rest of you guys, but it means the world to me that that has opened up doors for me. And I'm hoping that anybody who has the drive, because let me tell you, I'm 49, I'll be 50 this year, right? My first comic book, seriously, at 50, who does that? You can. If that's something that you ever wanted to do, you can do that right now.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna jump in real quick, and then I'll pass it to Mike, who's also got something wonderful to say. I can tell. I actually, so one of my favorite stories actually, Christopher Lee at 90 years old cut his first rock song. Right. I mean, I think because of the nature of the world we live in today, and the world and technology, there's a lot more. We have. One of the things that I talk about this on other podcasts is we live in an age now where things move quicker, and there's always like a moment of transition. So what that means is, and this is one of the great things, there's a good and a bad thing about it. It's the same thing. Nothing lasts forever, and everything tomorrow is different. So there's 2 ways of looking at it. Those great things you have right now aren't going to be there forever. That's not a bad thing. It's just that everything has its time and its place. On the flip side, that also means we can constantly reinvent ourselves. Mm-hmm. And I think that's an amazing, I think maybe that might be the greatest gift we have in this time. Today, for me, I just taught myself, I don't know if you guys I know Nita, you just became a friend, but I don't know about Mara's seen it. I've been playing with drawing. I'm not saying I'm good with it, but I've been doing this for just a few months, and it's a reinvention and it's a rediscovery. And that's the best thing about today's age. And that's just my thought. Okay, I'm going to get out of the way now. Mike?
Just to follow up on what both of you guys are saying, as far as it's never too late to jump in. And like I said, I've had characters in my head for a very long time. And the writer that I got with, that's also my partner, is Rob Anderson. And he's known I had these stories in my head for years because I see him in the Comic-Con circuit. He's created books and done plenty of books that he's actually self-published. And now he's actually has some stuff with another publisher, Scout, that he's doing. But we've been talking for a while, and he says, "You're right. You're ready. But I didn't feel like I'm ready as far as sequential. But now, finally, we sat down, got something out, and he knows the little things of how he knows how to write the DC way and the Marvel way. If you understand, like comic books, there's different ways that they write for the actual artist. And so we were able to figure out what works best for me. So when I'm able to do the sequential art, he conveys that message of what we're trying to create, kind of thing. So that's really what Continuum Comix is going to be about. And it's pretty solid because all three of us feel the same way. There's a lot of people that are just right there, just close. They have stuff that they've developed, and we're there to help you get over that next hump, to get it together. Maybe it's aligning you with the artists that we know, because all of us know different artists and different writers, and maybe you're an artist and you have this story in your mind, but you need to be able to get it out, but you're not really a writer. We're trying to connect all those ways. I mean, we know letterers and colorists, so all those things could bring something great together. And it doesn't really matter who you are or where you are. You can work together, because obviously we see that you can work together even if you're in a different state. Where one of us in Louisiana, not one of us in middle of Florida. I'm in lower part of Florida, and I'm not sure where you are. But you can bring together creation, and Continuum is the where we want people to go.
Yeah, I'm in Canada, just so you. I mean, yeah. So I mean, there are Canada, no borders. There are no
buddy.
Yes.
I'm from Michigan, so we used to go over there all the time.
Yeah. So Detroit.
Yeah, just outside.
Yeah.
Detroit.
Okay. Yeah. No. All the time. Yeah. Absolutely. Yep. But and anything you want to add there, Nita?
I'm good. Like, I write. That's it. And I don't have anything in this book, but I've got stuff coming.
You got stuff coming? Ah. Okay.
Well, that's the fun thing too. It's like we've got we've got this book coming out. We're still adding to it, but we've already kind of got the works, of book 2 and a little bit of book 3 right now. And it's a matter of shifting those things and making sure that the stories that people are committing to are delivered. And we hit the ground running, you guys. You have no idea. It was just like whatever challenges we might have had as a group, we were able to together and make stuff happen. I have rarely seen that.
Our team is amazing. Like, the 4 of us together.
Yeah.
Surviving this Kickstarter, we can do anything.
And we all bring something to the table. I mean, that is the coolest thing. I never feel like I've got to do everything by myself, And because if I'm like, hey guys, because I've got a busy life. Like today, I am threading the needle. We did Sunday Comics brunch, and then getting on here immediately, taking my son to work, doing the awards tonight. Plus, I have another job, that I don't have a day off. So it's like threading the needle. And when I was like, I'm not there, somebody else will pick up, And I think that's amazing.
All right. So I guess, one of the things I've been noticing, like I've kind of stumbled into, like, I would say what I call I call it the crowdfunding comics community. I'm not sure that's actually the right term, but one of the things I've noticed, like just interviewing a whole bunch of you, is a lot of you are seizing the opportunities presented in this time. Right. In terms of the fact that right now, especially, it feels like the most interesting comics right now are actually not coming from the mainstream comic book industry at this moment in time. I mean, I'm not gonna criticize, because there are great books in the mainstream, right? It's just more the fact that what is happening, I think, now more than anything else, I think, in comics, is because the bigger publishers are more like machines. They have a committed philosophy and direction, and what they've been doing over the period of time is they've narrowed this focus down more and more. See DC, Batman, Marvel, X-Men, right? And this is, by the way, not like, hey, listen, business is business, and it's obviously selling, or else they wouldn't do it. Right. But on the flip side now, like, okay, so for me this month, I got to back up Naira X. I backed up the Incontesti. and there's a lot. And honestly, there's just no way my Kickstarter privileges are kind of revoked for a while. I need to be more. I need to get more mature again, because there's just there's a lot. There's almost like there's like a renaissance going on in the comic book industry, but instead of it being in a company, it's now gone like into this like wide, varied niche. And I think what's really interesting about that is I think we are coming into a different kind of boom than that's ever existed before. Before, the boom would be like, oh my God, this property's hot in this company and it's bringing everybody up. What's happening now is it's wide. I mentioned 2 books. There are right now literally dozens of great books, being like yours included, that are being presented in front of a live audience. Right. And the thing is, the honest truth of the matter is, although obviously not everybody's this isn't a perfect 1,000 batting thing. The truth of the matter is, there is a lot of room for a lot of people to come on board in this. And like I said, I used to say there's all kinds of comics. There was what I call like mainstream comic book stuff. There's indie comic book stuff, and then there's crowdfunding. And I think there's a separate category, because it's almost like now you guys have this really interesting opportunity to brand yourselves first and foremost before you ever work on a character. And I think that's a very unique point in time. Nita, you're right. You can make some, like, obviously, like you mentioned this off the air. I'm going to put I mentioned Sealie on the air. You got comic book credits, right? That has opened doors, because what you've proven now to bigger companies is you can finish a project, at least in that area, and at least in that area, that expertise. That's huge, because honestly, that proves something to you. But the same with Nita and Mike. Obviously, you already got plenty of opportunities that have come your way, whether it was before crowdfunding or not, right? And so, what I'm trying to get at is, did you ever imagine comics would go this way, or is it more like, are you surprised it took this long?
I think I did not imagine comics going this way, because I've been in comics for a very long time, reading comics, drawing comics since I was a kid, and it was always, you had the aspirations to get work for the big guys,
right?
And back when you're younger, it's like, if I can get into the big guys, maybe I can create a character that they'd use, because they have the avenue. So you didn't think you had the avenue. There's plenty of comic book creators that have even written stories with their characters with Batman, their characters with Spider-Man, their villains with this, because that's where you felt like that's how you can be seen and get out. But now we're in a very specific time where you can create a character and build your own fandom based off of, and it's not like, it's you find all the niches necessary, whether it's more adult theme, whether it's, if you're still into zombies, you can find somebody that's like, oh, I just can't get enough of eating up something that's Dracula or zombies or certain gods or just you have so much of reach that would never be able to make it into DC or Marvel, and yet that's okay. And because that means it allows you to do stuff that they would have kept you into a narrow arrow, or say, okay, now we're going to shelve your character for a couple of years and he doesn't show up in anything. Whereas you're like, I got more story to tell. I got to branch off from those characters so people can see even more of my world. So it's much easier to get to your fans when you build them. If you're putting out a good product, people are going to, this is a classic saying, if you build it, they will come.
Right.
And this is I would say, renaissance of, if you build it, they will come.
Yeah.
One of the things that I wanted to point out too about the Continuum is that we've had to pivot. That is not a secret. We've had to pivot even in this campaign. I've seen lesser things happen and they pulled it, and we're like, no, we are strong. We've got it solid.
And came back better.
our stories were already there, and it was just a matter of like, can we pivot? But not only that, there were a couple of things that happened with some of the stories. It's like, okay, you know what? One had contractual obligations. You know, Russ Leach had to take Only Death Can Save Us out because of that pivot, and he was like, you know what? I've got another story that I can bring to you guys. And so we didn't really lose anything. It was a pivot. And then we had Austin Janowski, who had Dawn of the Dead. And it was like one of those things where he's like, guys, I hate to do this to you, but there is something in the pipeline for me. He's like, I don't know that I can sign. And sure enough, Second Sight Publishing picked him up. And plus he's working on Dawn of the Dead with it as the series.
Right.
You know, I mean, he's busy, and it's like there is nothing that we want to do to get in the way of creation or stepping up and leveling up to the next thing. This is a springboard. And it will always be a springboard. And if it ever changes from that, it's not something that I want to be a part of.
Then we lost our vision.
We lost our vision. That's it, though. It's like, if you want to bring it into the continuum and springboard out to something else, I am hoping that my stories get picked up. And it's not because I'm leaving Continuum Comix. It wouldn't be that at all. But it is a tip of the hat for what we have been able to do to shape me into a creator that can deliver books. And at the end of the day, I want to have those books at a table and be really proud of that product.
Well, I think that's an honest. I think so. As I'm speaking as a writer that's done prose and other interesting projects. I did an epic poetry, graphic novel, illustrated thingamabob. It's a neat little thing. But so, because of this podcast, because I've been cultivating an audience for years, I got to the point where my publisher, my reach out extended my publishers, at least in certain things, for sure. And so this time around, like last year, I released 2 books on my own, because it made sense. It made more sense for me to do it that way than it was to go with the publisher I had. But the other thing too, I mean, the other part you're not mentioning, it's actually really good for you. It's good business when some of your clients go into other publishers too, because the honest truth of the matter is, one, like everybody's the same way. That you're the same, and you make money in the exact same way we do it. It's all about backlists, right? It's all about having a variety of products out there, right? So, okay, Mike, you do Marvel, right? You've done some stuff for Star Wars. You've done some other cool things. Well, someone's going to be like, okay, some people will be like, oh my God, you did this character such and such so well. But some people are going to look at it, it's like, wow, this Mike Sealie guy, he's awesome. What else he did? What the hell is the Continuum? And that's like a score for you. Same with Nita, like Nita and you, Meredith. It's like, oh, this Meredith's amazing. She does like the sexiest lettering ever. Wait, what the heck is this? The Continuum Comix? Yeah. And Nita's like, oh my God, Nita can write stuff. Holy crap, this is a good story. What else? But that's how it works. Yeah. Right. What happens is you, and it's actually a clever thing, because I think a lot of smaller publishers need to go and pivot in this direction. You know, you're not going to keep your really talented people for very, 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 very long. You're just not like you'll keep a certain core is always going to be there, and that's great. But for the majority of what you're doing, and this is what I said earlier, is everything's transitory. You are going to have people come, you're going to have people go. But the thing is, you want that. Like I think you want that. That's your service. For lack of a better term, like your publishing house sounds like it's also a service, which is honestly, I feel, the true future of small press publishing. It's no longer I want to build product and backlists that people will find and sell. But the reality is, you're aware now today, it's like good people are going to come into the store and good people are going to walk out the store. And that's
people are going to be paying attention to who walks out your door, and that's going to reflect back on you, which in turn makes our company just.
Yeah, exactly.
It kind of reminds me, as another analogy, people that start in theater or in lower budget films, and then they get big or get huge. And I've done it too. like I've seen the actor and he's got great acting chops, and you're like, wow, I enjoyed that movie. I love his stuff. And you go back and watch everything. He's done. You was like, oh, you just want to consume everything that he's done in the past, even in little small budget films or whatever like that. And you're in it. So it's just, I would say you hit it right on the nail, where it's like even somebody like Russ Leach has already worked for Marvel, and he branched off and went on his own, and he's on the other side of the pond. So now he's got deals that's going on that's on this side of the pond, that now his audience that know him in Britain or over in Europe coming over here, now he's able to branch off into this other section, and those people are going to be like, oh, what else is out there?
And we were one of his first stops in the States, and it's like awesome.
That's been cool.
Well, yeah, and I mean I think that's just good. I do think big publishers are eventually going to go this way too. I think they're going to have to. But right now, there's this opportunity for you guys to establish yourselves as the place to go, because I mean, the advantage of being a smaller company is you're faster. You can figure things out, and it's easier for you guys to pivot now than it is for somebody bigger. And so, it's like me. I'd love to move my podcast to another home, but I've done so many episodes that's not as easy to do as I would like it to be. It's like, hey, I can move it, but it'd be like, But for you guys, like how long has the Continuum been around at this point?
This will be the first release.
Oh wow!
Yeah, this is the first release. So that's why we have issue 2 and 3 ready to already set up with other creators. Some creators have already released in the past, and their product is actually finished. So it almost also offers a bigger audience for guys that have already established and actually released, whether it's through Kickstarter or they published in another publisher in the past. Now they can go here and go, wow, this is something I didn't even know existed, and it creates a different audience and spreads out their audience and stuff.
Right.
So we're kind of looking forward, trying to move in the right direction. And like I said, we already got people set up for issues 2 and going into issue 3 as well.
And that might make people nervous, being, oh, you're a first-time publisher, blah blah blah. Your first Kickstarter. It's like, okay, you have an active Kickstarter. It's a successful one, and that's fine. It's like, oh, waiting for delivery. You don't understand the team behind it. Then you have to look a little bit behind the curtain to see where we're coming from. Rob Anderson has been in comics about 10 years, Mike?
Yeah. He's published
right.
Yeah.
Last year, I think he published 3 things, and he's already got stuff with a bigger publisher.
Right. Plus
properties
and then plus your credits.
Yeah.
Nita, fan of comics since how long?
Since I could talk.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up with the Sunday Funnies because my parents were poor. We couldn't afford comic books or anything. So it was the Sunday Funnies for me. And growing up, and, I had my favorite comic books and stuff like that. But life happened and took me away from it for a long time. And it's so cool to come back into the fold and say, oh, wow, these are my people, and so. But my experience also isn't just, when I started off in 2020, I came out as the comic noob because I never created a comic. I didn't write for one. I didn't script for one. I never lettered. I didn't do anything with that.
You wrote, and you had all kinds of editorial experience too.
Right, and except to talk to comic creators because of my association with Geek Insider, that opened a door. But now, but my publishing experience, I worked at a daily mid-sized newspaper. I was part of the Dow Jones local media group. So I have publishing experience. I know what a schematic looks like. I know what a page layout looks like. I might not be able to do sequential art and stuff, but my experience with writing, editing, publishing, all of those things, that comes with me. Now I'm adding comic books to my, to the shingle on my door.
So you're even more established than you actually have admitted already, because the fact is you already, what it takes to publish.
Yes.
And you can do it at an incredibly fast pace too. Because if you're talking about newspaper and press and stuff like that, that's you got at most 24 hours at most. Probably faster now because of how digital everything is now. But that's so that which means you can handle an extreme deadline. It means you can present. Although newspaper is a very old art form, there's still an art form to it. There's still a lot of design to it. If you do your job really well, people never notice the white space. And if people do your job really poorly, people do notice the white space, right? And there's big money in that stuff too. But all I'm saying is it sounds like you come in with a lot more credentials, and because you have that record, people take you a lot more seriously, which is why you also are part of the reason you're getting the names you're naming as well, because there's faith you can do it, right?
That's the entire group, though. The entire group,
absolutely.
And coming in as like, okay, Rob Anderson is more established. He's got Barbara Unleashed. He's got Cat Dad and Supermom that went over to Scoot. With Mike Sealie here, with his credits in Marvel, working with Topps and things like that. It's like all of those things, maybe individually we were building up our own brands and our names and things like that, but coming together collectively and putting that brain power together.
We're forming Voltron.
We are.
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah, that's right. Amazing Voltron.
If that's not too much of a deep cut, I'll go Power Rangers.
Oh, Mike.
Hey, I'm all for Voltron.
Dragon Zord?
Right?
Are we talking like Dragon Zord?
Yeah.
We're doing Dragon Zord. Okay, yeah. See, we're the same age group. Me and Mike. I'm pretty sure we could talk about all the stuff we geeked out at.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I was making sure I was touching all the audience that's watching, in case you don't know what a Voltron is.
Listen. I am legitimately cool with being uncool. I have made my peace. I have made my peace with that. I am me. I am my dorky, lovable self. That's right. Listen, I represent myself. I am deliberately uncool. Just don't ask me to sing, because if you like that band, I'll be apologizing later. I've been reading Alice in Wonderland on my podcast. There's that part with the mock turtle singing. I'm sorry. That's just all I'm going to say. I'm sorry. I tried, but I'm sorry.
Check that out.
Yeah. So, but okay. But I will ask this. I am going to pick on Nita here for a little bit, because out of everybody here, she's been the most silent. So I'm going to pick on you a little bit there, Nita. So just a little. I'm just curious about your background, because I have a sense of Meredith. I have a sense of Mike. What makes you so cool and awesome and possibly made of cheese? Probably not the made of cheese part.
Nothing makes me special or spectacular or stand out. I like to read. I like to write. I'm just curious what you've done. Like even if you're just coming in this from a brand new perspective. Far as writing comics, I have my first script already written. It will be published eventually. I have written prose in the past and a lot of poetry and blogs. It's mostly writing experience.
But I'm just curious what you've done. Because the reason I'm trying to be even if it's just I've just done blogging, I've just done this. I don't disrespect any of it, because honestly, I think the one cool thing about this time, the other really cool thing, there's a bad part to it, but we'll get to that in a minute. The good thing is almost everybody here, right, is a Renaissance man or woman. And by that I mean is we have had this day and age, just because of the way technology works, we have all learned to master different skills, right? And we've all had to learn how to do it. We've all, I broadcast, this is video, I've done audio, I write books, I've written poetry, I've written comics, I've done all of these things, right? I've worked in movies. I am a jack of all trades. The world has forced me to become a jack of all trades. Meredith's a jack of all trades. Mike's a jack of all trades, and so are you. But the difference is, so the bad part is almost all of us are underpaid, because we know what the hell we're doing, and frankly, right?
Wait, there's money involved?
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
What? Well, I thought this was like blood, sweat, and tears.
That too. But I mean, money as well. I mean, but right, blood, sweat, tears, and money. But I mean, so we're all underpaid, but we all are incredibly skilled. But I have a sense of what Mike and like I said, you write. So what have you written? What? Obviously, you're a fan. So.
Oh well, yeah.
Yeah, right. So, how did you get started? And I feel like, and the reason I want to bring this up is because I know these guys have
okay.
I do that.
So it's kind of it. Okay, so yeah, I've been a fan of comics my whole life, and I've done a lot of writing under pseudonyms. I have some blogs on Wild One Forever, but how I came into the comics circuit, I slept my way there. My husband is an artist, and I met Meredith and Rob through C. Michael Lanning. And that's how I got here. It's really bizarre. Like, that's just the truth.
No, it's okay. No, it's just something.
I mean, I didn't go whoring around trying to sleep my way.
No.
It just worked out that way. So blame me, right?
No, it just no. I mean, honestly, like whether like people say this in a bad way, but honestly, it's not entirely a terrible thing. It's you meet people. You connect with people,
right,
and you at that point, opportunities present themselves, right, and that's how it works. That is literally
right.
Like, we are social creatures. Bottom line, right? So it doesn't like honestly, and I know I can speak from this my own experience. I mean, I've done a lot of business at the bar. I've done business at the bar. Why? We're having a few drinks. We're getting along famously. One of us has an idea, usually me, but that's beside the point. And then we go back and forth, and we talk about see if we can make it work, or if we can't. That's not a terrible thing, right? The fact of the matter is, I mean, there is something to be said about being smart enough to take advantage of the opportunities in front of you. There are talented people. There are talented people who get these incredible opportunities literally handed to them on the door, and they blow it because they're for whatever they get in their own way. The fact that you are literally going out there and going, you know what? I never expected to be here.
Right.
But since I am here, how can I make the most of it?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And
So
I've been very blessed with the people I have just found myself in. And it's Meredith's fault, really. Because, yes, like, okay, so I'm married to C, but it was Meredith who was like, hey, come here. And I'm like, all right, I'll go. Okay.
And see, I don't want to embarrass her or anything like that. I might embarrass her a little bit. But so I was working with C to develop Reapers because of this group, you know, the Continuum Comix group. It did start off in Terraform, just letting you guys know. I mean, again, transparency. We were birthed in Terraform. We have moved on to Continuum Comix. You know, so it started off in that group. We had a conversation, and then I see Nita, and we just started talking, and we've talked to each other like, how did this happen? We don't even know. It's like, hey, by the way, what you want to be like my accountability partner? I need somebody who is not afraid to say, get off your ass and get going. And she's been that way for me. And there are days like I said, you should blog every day. And she's like, well, what are you doing? You know? And so it was kind of like one of those things where we were back and forth and we were holding each other accountable. It's like, then we launched our own show. We started Raging, which was a daily vlog, because we're always sitting together and we're talking and we're planning. And honestly, again, gonna embarrass you a little bit. You are a powerhouse. You are a powerhouse. She takes to the social media, which is again one of those things that need to be done. And it's like, and she's juggling family and stuff like that. And her knowledge so far surpasses my own as far as comic books. You know, when she's sitting there and she's telling her husband the laundry list of comic books that she wants at the store, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm like, what am I doing here? I mean, seriously. She's like, no, I want that issue. And I'm like, oh, fuck. It's almost like watching somebody who loves the sports team so much that they know every stat.
Mm-hmm.
That's her with comic books. And I'm like, I don't think I can write. That's great. I can edit and stuff like that. Sure, I have this newspaper experience of like, I don't freaking know comics.
That's
I just want to make.
That's why we all work, because we all have something.
Yeah. I'm like, how did I end up here? This was not on my radar a year ago. Not at all.
Who were you sleeping with, Meredith? No, I'm just
well, I did.
Wow, I usually open the show if you have anything incriminating you want to say, make it good. This has been more beyond my wildest dreams here. But no,
I did get spanked by the Indie Devil though.
Nice.
So just letting you know.
Hey, listen. You got it. Try it. That's all I gotta say. That's all I gotta say. I'm not even gonna argue. Right? It's like I don't judge. I'm way too old for that crap. So
right.
But no, and the reason that was actually one of the reasons why, because I got a sense like Mike, I got a sense of Meredith, right? I just want to get a sense of what you do, and honestly, like I think everybody, like especially when you get started, you have this tendency to sell yourself short just a little bit. Mm-hmm. And the truth of the matter is, every story's been told. And I don't mean that in like a terrible way. It's just we tell a lot of the same stories to each other over and over and over again. Sure. The difference is, it honestly is you. Because there's only one Nita Lanning, there's only one Meredith Loughran, there's only one Mike Sealie, and thank God there's only one of me, right? But but the thing about that is, we bring ourselves into everything we do. So the challenge simply is show up and do the work and get out of your own way. If you can do that, if you can honestly do that, you'll find that opportunities will present themselves in a myriad of ways you never thought would come. It's like, and then you ask yourself like these wonderful questions. It's like, what are you doing here? Case in point, like I'll give you like something that's happened with me today. I'm getting a drawing lesson from like a very well-established artist just because I posted my drawings from my drink and draws. I invite illustrators to come on and we draw random stuff, right? Just fun. But I don't pretend I'm good. I'm learning, and I just treat it like as a learning thing to have some fun. But I've had some very, very well-known people just show up, and suddenly this morning, right before I go to bed, I get this note from a buddy of mine going, "Hey, listen, you mind if I show you a few things? Like, would you feel embarrassed?" Like, no, this is way more than I offered. This is way more than I bargained for. Right. I don't expect people to go out of their way to help me, but right. These are opportunities.
Oh, absolutely.
These are things that am I going to be stupid and have an ego? No, I can figure this out all, but no. Hell no.
Right. The ego will be the death of you.
I am a sponge right now. I am paying attention to everything everyone is doing. I'm actually having an opportunity that even they don't have amongst themselves because they're so busy doing their set things, and it's just like I'm watching everybody and I'm picking it all up and I'm learning it from the inside out, and it's beautiful.
Yeah. And that's kind of like what I did at the beginning of last year. I can tell you, it was right around April of 2020 when I felt like I was kind of getting immersed in the industry and the community. Nita's got a word for that.
Community. It's
community because it's a little bit of both, and I was like, wow, these are my people. These are the people that I've always wanted to be around. Right. The creatives, the people who are they're going to take any challenge and they're going to run with it, and they're going to take those opportunities. I don't want to go to my grave going, I wish I had done this, and this. You know what, quite honestly, I friggin' did that with Bitcoin. All right. When Bitcoin first came out and they were giving them away, I could have had like 5 of them in the bank right now. And like that moment when I realized that Bitcoin had value, I was just like, oh shit, anything that comes my way, I'm going to say yes to. And I don't care what it is, coming in with common sense. It's like, obviously there's scams out there. We are not that. This is a golden opportunity for people to come in and say, hey, I don't know what I'm doing, but you are my people. And I want to try that. And why not? It's a great place to do that. If it doesn't work, you still have something in a book that's being published that is going to be on so many people's tables and in their libraries and their personal collections, So it's like, we are not out to do harm. We want to create books. We want to create good books. That is what we are about. And we want to level everybody up who wants to level up. And
I want to create the people.
Yes.
To me, that's most important. And I guess that comes from you pulling me out of my rut. Like, just, I want to build others up. Find that freaking, that man or woman, freaking the talent that's being overlooked because they lack the self-esteem to move forward, or to encourage and to grow the artist, grow the creators. Come here, let's see what you got.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Dude, I get, actually, Nita, if you can keep the learning thing your whole career, you will go a very long way. You're never not a student. That's one thing. That's the one thing. You get caught and you're like, you find your niche and you get comfortable with it. But and you end up, like, for me, like the drawing thing came in the last 3 months. Like, just playing, but I've been writing for a very long time. One of the things I did for comics, because I wanted to understand the artist side of it a little bit better, I actually took Scott McCloud's art course, because I was like I knew I was going to be the worst artist in there. At the time, I definitely wasn't in the mindset to do that. But that wasn't why I was there. I was there because, and they understood it too. Like, they really did understand it. I was there because I wanted to see an illustrator's point of view.
Right.
Because that will make my scripts stronger. Because I can now look at an illustrator and go, okay, this is what they need about, this is what they care about, this is what about. I'm never going to be that guy, and then who knows? That might change now. I've been practicing a lot more. I'm not going to say I'm there or anything like that, but I am illustrating my next prose book a little bit, just because it's just going to be something within my wheelhouse. It's something within my wheelhouse. And I have a plan. I have a master plan. But anyways, that's the point. But the point was, I went out of my way to learn a little bit of what everybody else does, because what that will do is, when I write a script or when I write I have a sense of the letter. I have a sense of what the letter does. I have a sense of coloring is something I need to get a little bit better, understand a little bit more, because the coloring role in comics has evolved tremendously over the last few years. So
technology changed it.
It's almost, it's right. If it's not quite on the penciler's level, it's on par. Like, it's not much below it. Like, color definitely makes a story pop.
Oh my goodness.
But it's and there's an art form to it. I think the like I said, so I don't fully get that at this moment in time. That will change. That will change in like a month, in the coming months or so, because it's like, I'm gonna try this color thing. It's probably gonna mess up, right? They'll be like my obnoxious boots on Link. They're obnoxious. They're a fashion accessory, not a weapon, possibly a weapon of mass destruction. But that's okay, right? But the point is, I'm going to learn, because I'm always trying to understand. I think that's probably one of the best, and that's actually the opportunity everybody has here too, because everybody has their own strengths,
right?
And there's always like a chance to learn.
Well, and Nita and I, we kind of challenge each other often, especially on Ragin. But I told her, I said, hey, if you write a script, I will draw. I am not an artist. I never claimed to be. I don't do the sequential thing, and it would probably be a hot mess. But
I held up my end. I brought it.
She did. She did. And so I am up for the challenge. And the thing is, I'm going to deliver those pages. Now, whether we use them or not is a completely different thing. It might be like, oh, we're going to use that scratch and hire a real artist to make it happen, you know, but that's it. It's like that whole leveling up. It's like, can I do it? I might not be very good at it, but I want to understand it. I want to, if anybody comes in and says, hey, I want to try to letter. Okay. You know, you're going to get guidance from people who have lettered, who have done it. If you want to try sequential art, you're going to get guidance. You know, and whether you take that advice or not is entirely up to you.
And a writer, prose to script. I mean, that is very.
Oh my God.
That's why I totally agree on the learning the different forms of the art, because as a writer, comic script is much different than motion picture script or anything. There are things that you cannot include in comics, and you still have to get your story across. And
pacing,
the illustrator has to be able. Yeah, it's good. It's up to your artist to, you know, convey your words, and so you have to learn how to write for the script. Yeah, and
my first book, one of my first books I bought was by Scott McCloud. And it's Understanding Comic Books, because when he said that, it rushed back in my head. I'm like, yo, that was the book I had at my house. That and an art book, Burning Hergar.
Well, no, so there are that is literally the book. Even if you're just a script writer, that is the book I encourage you guys to get, because that book will and then one of two particular graphic novels. Your choice: Watchmen or American Flag. Your choice, right? Because both of those books show you exactly what is possible in the medium of comics. Watchmen script. I mean, the script. If you look at it in terms of the actual dialogue and the art form of the story being told, these are older stories, and you can tell. However, I doubt not very few comics are as ambitious as those two when it comes to actually what you can do in a comic. And hello, Reverend Loughran. How are you doing, man? Welcome to the show. Right? Is it Radnoslaki? Did I say that right? I hope I said that right. I really, really hope I said that right. Look at my name. If I can't, I always feel bad when I screw up a name. But that's okay. But no, it's required reading. Like I think every creative should. Obviously, for an artist and illustrator, yeah, you can't ignore it. As a script writer, you shouldn't ignore it. You really shouldn't, because it shows you, even like Understanding Comics shows you a lot of what is possible in the medium, and he really explains the basics so well. Scott's an amazing teacher. Like, he really, really is.
Yeah. Real talk. This book came out in like '93. Yeah. Because I remember it because I graduated in '94, and I was still in high school when it came out, and I was in the comic books then, and trying to self-publish then or make a little ash can, because I don't know if you remember, they used to call them ash cans, and they make smaller versions of a comic. So that was the book I picked up, and I just remember it. And I hadn't thought about that book until you said this in like years. It's been like 20-some years since I thought of that book. But when it came back, it was like all the pages, what the cover looked like, everything came back with it. So,
yeah. Well, no. Well, thanks, Radnoslaki. I'm glad I was able to succeed. Bankston? I'm curious. Now I'm just curious. If I don't get that right, I totally get it. But no, like, so I'm going to do something kind of fun here, because we are coming unfortunately to the end of our time. But so what made you guys a fan of comics? What was your comic? Because everybody's got one.
Mine was the Max. Like,
Ooh,
I love the Max. Like, it's still to this day one of my favorites. I am still in the process of collecting all the image covers. Yeah, just I love everything about. I love the Max himself, Julie Winters. I love every character. It just Sam Keefe is the shit.
Sam Keefe, yeah.
Oh, are we allowed? Is this?
Yeah, don't worry. I've thrown F-bombs on here. This is
awesome. Okay.
Yeah. It's my podcast. I have a very simple rule, right? I only really have one rule. Don't discriminate against people specifically. Don't discriminate against any like races, cultures. And I will talk politics with you, but I'd rather not. It's just one of those. Yeah, I'd rather not. It's just no one wins, right? No one wins on that one. So but beyond, like, we'll talk that one, but the other two are unexcusable. And then beyond that, I really don't give a crap. I've talked about everything from stone flies when I interviewed a rock band to glitter to PTSD and like everything in the middle. It really depends on the guest. I just let them be themselves. That's kind of like my rule. So.
Oh well, damn! I've been tense this whole time.
Yeah, you should. No, look. I mean, fuck. Just be yourself. I don't give. Like, I really, truly don't give a rat's ass. What I care about. Let me level this for you. While your product is impressive, I care more about you guys as people. Because in my opinion, this is just my opinion now, and I don't know that much, right? The best form of marketing is you guys being as authentically you as possible. That's my opinion, right? I can connect with you if I know a little bit about you. This is why I grilled you in specifically in this episode, because you got really quiet at one point there, and it was like, okay, let's see who you are a little bit. Because Meredith's been very cool taking the lead. Mike has added comments here and there. And then I'm like, oh, let's open you up. Who are you? Because that is what people are going to connect to.
You know what, Josh? She's going to have my ass later because you did that, right? You do understand that she is going to, we're going to go behind the scenes. She's like, oh, I am tearing you a new ass. And I'm like, because...
I'll call it your blossom.
I'm coming for you, Meredith.
She's coming for me because
I actually want all three of you individually at some point, because I know I could, like, I know me and Mike will geek out on pretty much everything, because I get the feeling. Meredith, you
which Bankston is that?
It's Trish.
Oh,
that's my bitch.
But you know what? That's it. It's like we level up and stuff like that. But trying to get her out of her comfort zone and say, "Hey, you know what? I'm doing this," and she's taking over. You guys, you have no idea.
Mike, I love you, Mike.
Hi, Michael. Nice
Mike, I'm taking the knife out of my back, man.
Nice to see you, man. No, I nice to meet you. No, that's my show. Like, I don't mind talking about your product. It's cool. I mean, that's what you're here to do, and I'm definitely going to give you guys a chance to properly plug it at the end. I care about, because to me, your story is interesting, right? People are always interesting, no matter what. I've gone whole episodes where we just talk about random stuff, because I ended up talking to Chuck Pinot about, like,
I love Chuck.
Yeah, Chuck is awesome. But we ended up talking about heavy metal and, like, cities in Ontario we've all been to, right? Because we're both Canadian, and we just know, right? Right? Chuck's cool. That's what we talked about. And then the second time we drank booze and played metal back and forth to each other. It was fun. Like, I really don't have a set game plan. As you noticed, you got the prep notes, right? Which were like none, because I don't do them, right? Because it's just, I'm much more interested in you as people, and I'd rather talk to you and get to know you, because that is, You'd be surprised. I've done 500 of these. I can make it. I can get an interview out of literally.
Smart ass. Don't entertain him anymore.
Yes.
Like
That's right.
Seinfeld.
About nothing. Totally.
That's Mike.
I'll take that comparison.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. I'll take that comparison.
All right.
But I think you're trying to get down to the more organic.
Yeah.
Of it, and understanding that, and you connect with people. You know, yeah, they may like your art, they may like your writing, but it's like that person as a whole is my draw, and I'll eat up everything that they throwing at me.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I think that's, look, I don't know about you guys, but when I go to a convention, okay, all right, I think the very worst experience I have is when I meet a creator, I admire their work, and they're assholes.
Oh, yeah.
There's like 3 came in my head.
Right? But they're so okay, like for example, I had the opportunity. Now, the only third person I've ever done the 5-minute hi, how are you? I'm going to sign your autograph and go is Kevin Eastman. Nice guy, incredibly nice guy. He's just very popular, as in just very, very popular. So you don't really got a choice. If you want to have that little conversation with him, you're going into that lineup. That's just what you're going to do, because you've seen his lines, they're huge, right? Right. That's but for the most part, like he was cordial, he was awesome. Like I've met George Perez. George Perez is an incredibly sweet person, one of the nicest dudes in comics, right? And I will never forget, for as long as I live, him asking me whether Zatanna should have a top hat in his drawing. Like, who the hell am I going to tell George Perez what to draw? Right? Right. Who the hell am I? Right. But that's it. These are the things you remember. These are the things you remember when you meet people. Right. And if you can connect to somebody, if you can truly connect to somebody, and this is the other thing, like I've mentioned this earlier, we're all becoming Renaissance men and women. The other thing is we all now are media personalities. Somebody like, as part of being a brand, we represent ourselves, right? So I'm sorry, Nita, but silence doesn't do you any good anymore. You can't afford it anymore. You have to be like, what little I've seen from you today, and I'm sorry, Meredith, she's probably gonna
you're gonna get me killed, dude.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You're gonna if you disappear, don't come after me next, Nita. Just don't. Okay.
It was nice knowing you, folks. I am going to haunt Josh after I'm dead.
Fair enough. I'm going to get haunted for this. But Nita, you sound like an incredibly passionate person that I think wants to learn, is hungry to grow. Absolutely. And you're smart, and you're smart enough to recognize the opportunity you have. And honestly, that's cool. No one should hold that against you. Right? The people that will, I mean, honestly, wish they were in your position. So the truth of the matter is, take advantage of it. I'm looking forward to seeing what you come up with, and keep your passion. That's the only thing I will tell you. Just keep it, because it honestly will carry you.
Yep.
Mike, yeah, I get the feeling like me and you could literally have like a cocktail at a bar somewhere and we just geek out over like the dumbest stuff. Are you a Disney Afternoon guy? I'm just curious.
Disney Afternoon?
Yeah, like DuckTales, Gummy Bears.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I didn't call it that. I just call it running home to watch the shows.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, school's over. Let me go watch.
Yeah.
Rescue Rangers. Right.
Yeah.
Voltron, Animaniacs.
Yeah. So yeah, me and him. I mean, we just our interest alone would probably occupy us for hours. But he's also, I mean, he's got some really cool opportunities. And Meredith has had at least 2 lives, maybe 3 lives in the publishing industry. So fascinating history without and this is just a glimpse of just me having a glimpse of all 3 of you. So hopefully I get you all back one-on-one at some point, because I think they'd all be cool conversations, hopefully. Right. But because we are unfortunately short on time, it is that time where I shut up and go, okay, guys, I think we have an interview. What do you guys think? Don't kill Meredith, Nita. Just don't kill her. Okay, just don't kill her. So yeah, just don't kill her. Yeah. All right. So on that note, guys.
I saw that. Number 1, all the way.
I felt it. Little heart there. Just
all love.
All love. She's looking at me. Hey, I'm in Canada. You gotta come all the way up here. I had nothing to worry about.
Oh, you're safe, buddy.
For now, when I show up when I do come to Florida at a convention, I know I'm gonna have.
Yeah. You're on my list, Josh.
Okay. So last small note: chocolate or vanilla?
Chocolate.
Chocolate. Okay. So see, this is the lesson I'm gonna have. I'm gonna bring like dark chocolate, like a pile of it. It's like, please don't kill me. It's kind of hard. Like it's kind of hard to kill the person that's giving you that thing you like. That's my plan. Bribery. Totally work. Like I'm a briber. Totally work. Don't kill me.
Well, you can toss the chocolate and run, and then take the temperature later.
Yeah.
Right.
Look. It's like this. I just like any man in his right mind, and any man in his right mind is a little terrified of women that can get shit done. They should be, because they will hunt you if they decide to turn their attention to you. You're probably a dead man. You probably are. So
that's safe to say.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a wise man understands this, right? And recognizes that, okay, if I took them both a little out of their comfort zone, especially Nita, right? And they may not like that. They might thank me later, but they may not like that right now, right? So I want to actually still be alive when they thank me. That's kind of the thing. I want to get to that point. So that's just me, you know. I think ahead. So I try to think ahead. I'm sure I'll get blindsided at some point. It's okay. Just make it quick, guys. Please.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Gators here in Florida.
Yeah. Anyway,
coming to Florida.
I think we got an interview here. Right? I think we got an interview here. I mean, it's the first interview where my life got kind of threatened at the end of it, but hey, I mean, that's what I want, right? Go through every experience.
Enter the continuum. How about that? We'll end on.
No, that's where I was going. Like plug. So, how about we do this? We'll start with Nita. We'll go to Mike, and we'll close with Meredith. Meredith, you plug the Kickstarter, but for Nita and Mike, also plug some of your other things you're doing, like your websites, where people can find you individually as well. That way, people can find you guys later on if you want, and then we'll have Meredith like wrap it all up with the Kickstarter and where you can find the Kickstarter again. So,
okay, who goes first? Okay,
Nita.
My name is Nita Lanning. I can be found on Facebook as Nita Lanning and everywhere else on social media as Creating Chaos 24/7. I can be found on Raging YouTube with Meredith Loughran, and you can find my blogs on wildoneforever.com. Yeah, that's me.
Okay, Mike.
And I'm Mike Sealie. Sealie like the mattress, but spelled a little different because then they'd have to pay the royalties. So it's Mike. You can go to my website, Mike Sealie, SEALIE.com, or you can also go to my Instagram. I'm always posting new art, and it's Mike_MJS, and I'll come up. And I'm the guy with the fedora, trying to look fedorable. So.
Oh no, he didn't.
I see what you did there. Wait, I think I've got a toothache now.
It's all that milk chocolate, Meredith.
Sealie, you done? Are you done?
I'm done.
Being all sweet. That my tooth hurts. Okay. So I am Meredith Loughran. Enter the Continuum is live right now. We've got 5 days left to go. We're at 99 backers. We need one more to hit 100. With 100, we're going to release another PDF pack, and that is
basically the creative stuff that we are sweeping up off the floor and out of our archives, as far as maybe it'll be a script, maybe it'll be some sketches and things like that haven't been, that it is the behind the scenes. So at 100 backers, that gets released. 5 days to go. Let's get us there. Right now, the Continuum lives by the sword, which is a story by Russ Leach. There are 6 stories in here. You've got Reapers, you've got Karma, By the Sword, Wolf, Eclipse, and what am I missing?
Karma.
Did I say Karma? Karma.
Always say Karma a second time.
Yeah. And it's so good, and I am planning a couple of extra pages in there. Not technically released, but Josh, you're kind of getting an exclusive with that. That is going to happen. And
ContinuumComix.com will take you directly to the
Kickstarter.com, and make sure you put an X on that for comics.
With X. Continuum Comix with an X.
Yeah.
Like that, guys.
That's it.
It'll take you straight to our Kickstarter.
So you can go definitely check that out. Remnel Sloki. It can be cold in Canada. Windsor, not so much. Calgary, I got stories, but Windsor, not so much. It is what it is. But thanks for joining, and thanks for everybody else that watched and or listened to this podcast. If you want to support this podcast, you can do so in a number of different ways. You can hit the follow button on Twitch. I'm very close to being an affiliate. I'm at 47 followers right now, which is kind of cool. My YouTube channel is Joshua Penteleresco. All my episodes end up there at some point, about a week or so behind there. And then I do my audio, which can be found virtually any audio description you want. Stay inspired. Keep shining in the dark. And I'll see you later on this afternoon as I'm making up my interview with Jill Maria. Oh, thank you for having it. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it was a pleasure, Meredith. It was definitely a pleasure. And for everybody else, stay inspired. I'll see you later this afternoon.